Hello and welcome to Shifting the Atmosphere with Federica, where I talk to ordinary people doing some extraordinary things. I'm your host, Federica Peterson. I'm a certified executive and life coach, business mentor, best-selling author, and adjunct professor. I'm here to partner with you in your transition journey to help build your confidence, elevate your thinking, and shift your perspective to empower you to cast a new vision and redefine what's possible. Or in other words, shift your atmosphere. Okay, folks, we are live on Shifting the Atmosphere with Federica. And many of you that may be on YouTube right now or Facebook or Twitter, you're just getting this in your feed. So get comfortable, send some stuff out to your folks. We're going live here. We're talking about relationships. I've got Keith Dent, a certified professional coach, but more importantly, expert on relationships. So let me talk a little bit about the show as you're getting yourself together here. So we're talking about relationships, right? And married folks, I want you to get your pens and papers out. And singles, I want you to get yours out too, because you know I'll never forget y'all. So we got to get a little something for you later in the broadcast, though. But it's coming. It's coming. And you need to hear what's happening in the beginning anyway, because that's usually where it falls apart. So trust me, you're going to love this one today. Keith is straight up, which is what I love about him. You guys know I'm straight up, and so is he. So we're going to keep it real today. So about this subject, and it doesn't leave much in the gray area. So there's not going to be a whole lot of gray area, a lot of black and white. So many of you may be licking your wounds by the end of this, but you're going to be okay. Sometimes we need to have it straight in our face in order to be able to deal with it. So our whole intention today is to shift somebody's atmosphere. That's my whole walk in life, right? I want to shift your perspective about some things and hopefully pour some light back into relationships that may be the light's going out, right? And singles too. We want to shed some light in that for you as well, because we want you to find healthy relationships and we want to make sure that you get married to the right person. So yes, folks, today, this is going to be a good one. So for those of you that are listening, we are taking your questions live. So if you click on the link, if you're listening on either Facebook or Twitter or even on YouTube, you can just click on that link and jump in here and chat with us live and ask your questions and just let us know that you're out there. We want to hear from you. So let me tell you a little bit about Keith. Keith has over a decade of experience in the field of counseling, coaching individuals, couples, teens, and their parents to help them improve their relationships and their ability to achieve their personal goals. Keith and Strive to Succeed work with couples to help them achieve the kind of relationship they envision when they first made their commitment to each other. Strengthening communication and revitalizing their understanding and empathy for each other helps couples regain the romance and closeness they long for, even in their everyday real world. Now, for over 7 years, Keith has helped develop specific programs to help teens and their families achieve success in all facets of their lives that may have eluded them in the past, whether it's academics, relationships, athletics, college preparation and applications, goal setting, developing specific plans in areas where working with Keith as a coach can help young people set the patterns that promise a brilliant future. Keith has a bachelor's of science from Georgetown University and a master's degree from Milano, the New School for Management and Urban Policy. He also is a certified empowerment coach by the Institute for Professional Empowerment Coaching, IPEC. We went to the same school. I love it.
Yes.
He has been featured guest on Sex, Love, and Relationships, and he's now a featured guest on Shifting the Atmosphere, so his whole life is going to change now. Just kidding. Keith, yeah. Welcome to the show,
yes,
Keith.
Thank you. I need to just take you around with me. It just sounds so wonderful when you say it.
Listen, you are wonderful. Oh, my God. Keith and I have known each other for a while at the church, but we've got to spend more time together lately because they got me in this wonderful program for budding entrepreneurs, and I highly recommend it to folks out there. It's called Rising Tide Capital. Got to give them a plug. And Keith is one of the managing directors for the program. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful program. So anyway, we're going to stay on track. So Keith, we've got you here. And the right.
Yes, welcome. Thank you. On this rainy Saturday.
I know. So we probably will get more people listening. We don't want them,
wonderful.
and we don't want them to be shy about going in the chat. So we're probably going to antagonize you, so you will chat with us. But
sounds
it's
great.
Okay. Yes, because Keith has his own podcast too. So neither one of us are new at this. It's going to be fun. So Keith, I want you to tell your journey. That's the rite of passage that everybody that joins my show. Mm-hmm. What in the world got you to this place where you are now an expert being sought after to help couples improve their relationships and their communication, helping the youth? Like, it's such an amazing story. So I'm going to shut up and let you tell it.
Well, it's interesting. Back in, in the late 90s, I was working for an organization, Merck Medco, which is now, I think, Express Scripts now. And so part of my journey was to travel to different companies, because we're a pharmaceutical benefit management company. Mm-hmm. And so I was driving to my client, and usually I listen to music and stuff like that. But just in this one instance, the rental car didn't have music. The radio wasn't working.
Oh, wow.
So that was, and so the drive was 3 hours.
Okay. And
so, thinking about, okay, what am I, I was like, do I really enjoy what I'm doing? What should I be doing? And then, as if, as God was speaking to me, it's like, you should become a coach, because I was like, a coach. And I admired Joe Torre, who was the manager for the Yankees at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, I should be a coach, right? I kind of have that same demeanor like he was, was good with his players. He listens. And I was like, yeah, I kind of have those qualities. So of course I was thinking that, that meant I need to be a baseball coach. So, as soon as I got back to the hotel, because it was late now, about 12 o'clock, and I called my wife, and she was like, yeah, what's going on? It's like, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to be a coach, blah, 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 and she was like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I really thought that's the direction I wanted to go in. So I thought I would be able to coach, because I played baseball. So I thought I could be able to coach high school baseball, mm-hmm. as well as retain my job. But that wasn't going to work for the organization. So I ended up quitting my job to be a coach. Mm-hmm. And I did it, did that for about a year. I was a substitute teacher, and I coached. And then, I lost that position because somebody in the district wanted to be the coach, and I guess, they have certain rules, and I didn't have my teacher certificate. So I ended up taking another coaching position in Newark. And then I just saw some of the challenges of that. And so I ended up being an academic coach, working for this nonprofit, trying to help our young men, mm-hmm. Do better and see the world outside of their, current surroundings. And so then, of course, the players would come, and then, they would share personal stories. And one of the things was just kind of about relationships. Mm-hmm. And it just happened to be, a lot of the things that I heard were not positive. They were negative. And, much of it ventured around, sex and intimate relationships, which they really shouldn't have been engaging in so young. And so then the church that we both belonged to at the time, Christ Church and Montclair, had a position for abstinence educator. I was like, yeah, that's what they need. They need this so they can have healthy relationships. Yeah. And so I did that for about 5 years.
Okay.
And I would hear just some of the crazy stories that we're talking about sixth graders.
Wow. Are you serious?
In regards to, relation. Yeah. Just some of the things that's like, okay, what do you hear about relationships? I'll never forget this. And they're like, oh, well, we watch
grade. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we watch Lifetime.
Oh my God.
At that time, it was Lifetime television for women. So, some of the stuff that they put on there, of course, is a little bit salacious in nature. And, if kids are watching this and getting kind of a view of what relationships are all about, that's already not a good sign.
Yep.
And so then, so obviously it just went from adults, from young kids to adults, because it's really adults that need the support. So they don't put down the same roots for their kids. Mm. And that's it. That's basically kind of the journey. That's where I'm at right now.
Now, but there was I remember us talking about this, right? And I feel like there was some conversation you had with a teen that made you realize, you were saying how it was so disjointed that they're getting this stuff from Lifetime and carried on, but it was so much deeper, right? When you really started unpacking, it was so much deeper than that. There was challenges in the marriage relationship. There was challenge in their perception of relationships. And so how did the teens and even the parents take to it when you started kind of focusing on that and in the position that you were in, because you were really just a coach at the time? It wasn't this deep place. Was there a change in the attitude towards you? Did some parents get offended? Like, did you deal with anything that was, maybe came against it?
I think for the kids, it was an eye opener. So that they could make healthy choices. Mm-hmm. Because they thought it was normal. They thought it was normal that they should engage in unhealthy activity, mm-hmm. or intimate activity, sex, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And that it was just the rite of passage. And I think with adults, it's a kind of a challenge to talk about sex with your kids.
Okay.
Yep. So I think they saw it as it was helpful, because they just didn't want I think in all actuality, they just don't want their kids to make the same mistakes that they did.
Right.
So it's like, okay, great, it's coming from somebody else.
Okay.
And it made it helpful. With some of the kids, though, especially ones I had very close relationships where they would bring their personal stories. It was tough because you saw not grown or young men that thought they were just macho.
Right.
And, because most of them were football players where I was their academic coach.
Yep.
And they would turn to basically the mistrust they would have for women, or just how devastated they would be based on the fact that they, the person they thought was their boo, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Kind of mistreated them or kind of did the same things that they would do, because they should be allowed.
Yep.
Because they are macho. Yeah, I'm the man here. I should be able to, it's like just what men do.
Yep. And
then when the tables were turned, it would just totally wreck their worlds.
Got it. I got it. So now all of this and all these experiences and everything that you've gone through over the years, helping couples and relationships brought you to write this book, In the Paint. And I got to tell you, I love that title. Love that title. But tell us what inspired you to write the book, what the book is about, how can it get, I want everything about the book. So In the Paint, talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a couple of, journey is much, much, much longer. I've always been a sports guy. I played sports, all my life.
Okay.
And so one of the biggest thing, and kind of the inspiration for it came out of this couple that were friends of mine. We went to the Yankee games together, and and we sat in the same section.
Okay.
So I didn't know them up until I just happened to get tickets there, and so I got to know them. Great couple, and they'd known each other, like they kind of grew up together and known each other, and they decided to get married, and then just out of the blue. She called and was talking about, that they were going to get divorce or separate. Things weren't going well. And I was like, wow, I was very surprised because they just seemed like, just happy-go-lucky couple, had been together, knew each other and all this, they grew up together. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't have known that on the surface, because he was, because she said the biggest problem is that he wouldn't communicate. But then, I knew how passionate he was about sports. So it's like, okay, wait, he's so passionate about sports, but yet he can't communicate what he needs. And she would get frustrated on the fact that she would communicate with him, and it's like nothing was being done.
Yep. Yeah.
And then when I thought to unpack that, it's like, okay, I listen to sports radio a lot, and you would just hear men just talk about, they had, very distinct opinions about sports. The fact that they would sit on the phone for hours and wait just to talk, to a radio personality for a couple minutes or, a few seconds about, their attitude about some play or just a play or a season that maybe happened years ago. So I was like, okay, so there is a connection there that men can communicate.
Yeah.
And maybe there's just a way that women need to communicate with them, or they just need to register. So I started to kind of use kind of sports concepts when couples would come to me about things. So, an example was a woman was just frustrated about, things would go well. She would kind of say something and he would kind of do it for a little while. Yeah. And then he would drop back to his old habits.
Right.
So, I mean, I just used the vernacular, I forget if you don't have a theme, how you want to play out as your team, he's not going to get it. And I think a light bulb went off and she was like, oh, wow. Yeah. And he kind of nodded his head like, yeah, that's, I get it. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, yeah, maybe there needs to be a shift in how you communicate with your partner, especially males. If you use maybe a sports concept, he'll understand, as opposed to like, just not I'm going to say nagging, but just communicate in a way that you always communicate.
Right. Well, women like to talk. We like to chat. We're chatty Cathys. And men, you just want to solve us. Right. Yeah. And that's just as frustrating as I can't even imagine. We're like, we don't want you to fix it. We need to be emotional about it, but they're trying to solve it. So I totally get that. Now, how'd you come up with In the Paint? Where'd that?
Oh, well, In the Paint was inspired because kind of in today's the way basketball's played today. Yeah. It's featured around finesse, 3-pointers. And stuff like, which is beautiful, and that's kind of way. And in that area, there's not a lot of physicality that goes on. And so In the Paint is the area where it's tough, it's very physical. But if you can master that area, that's where you really win. You can really win the game. And on a basketball court, that's the only area where it's painted. Everything else is pretty much the same. Okay. So, there's, specific, like in all marriages, there is some aspects that are the same, but there's that very small area that can really make or break a marriage. And so the reason why I used In the Paint that basketball as opposed to the other sports, and in basketball, there's individuality with also a team concept. So the stars, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you could probably name all the stars off the top of your head. Yeah. But you can't win without a team in basketball. So it's marriage is the same way. You have to have your own individuality, but you also can't thrive in a marriage without a team.
Got it. Wow. Got it. Okay. So that In the Paint is really around, it's a sports analogy. Yes. You could use that as terminology. Okay. So men are going to know what that is, but a lot of women, I wouldn't know. And I'm into sports, but I would never know that because it doesn't relate to tennis, because I'm really into tennis and football. And so I wouldn't have known that. Okay.
So you would know. Yeah.
I would never know. But
you don't even think about it, because In the Paint is the painted area within the court, the closest to the basket.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So now, who's going to benefit from reading this book? Is it going to be just married couples, or will singles benefit from this, or people that are considering getting married? Like, who's going to benefit from reading this book?
I think primarily it is mostly for couples if you are struggling, or if you want to set a nice framework for your marriage, especially if you're just getting married. This is probably a great book to have, because the way it's laid out, it kind of lays out all of the different stages you're going to go through in a marriage. So, I kind of do devote the first part to dating. So it is for singles in that aspect, because you want to, in order to play well in a game, you have to be able to know how to practice. So I do lay that part out in the beginning of the book. So the way the book is laid out, it's a basketball game is 4 quarters. Yeah. And we're talking about professional basketball. So there's 3 chapters for each quarter. So the beginning of a relationship's the first, kind of chapters. In the middle is kind of what some of the, the aspects that you're going to go through in a marriage, from financial to, sex to, when the kids come. And then kind of the last few chapters are devoted to, what you're going to do once you start winding down, what are some of the things you're going to look for, want to do once you get into the years where you're, worried about working, the kids are out, and, you still have to devote that time to your relationship if you want it to make it, if you want to extend that to the 10, 15, 20 plus year range.
Okay. Totally got you. And so this is a little bit for everybody then.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, actually, yes.
It is.
Yes. And you may want, read the first chapters early. And so, okay, I'm going to put it on the shelf to when I am, and then you'll refer back to it. Because, there's different iterations throughout your life when you go through a marriage.
Okay.
Just like any team goes through different iterations.
Okay. Well, then tell me this. You say that this is a GPS for couples. What do you mean that this is a GPS?
Yeah, and then that's the tagline I like to use just for my practice.
Yeah.
As you know, with a GPS, you just punch in the coordinates, and it'll take you on your journey where you want to go. We don't really use maps anymore. We punch in our coordinates where we want to go, turn right, turn left. And, sometimes in relationships, we're going to go off track. We're like, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to do my own thing and go left. Well, eventually you're going to get lost, Just like, oh, wait, I didn't follow the GPS. Where am I? And but in turn of, you can always get back on track if you, start to follow where the coordinates are going to go and listen. That's why I use the GPS.
And so that's interesting as a male that you would use GPS, because typically you guys don't want any help with directions. And so the women have to have the GPS in their earbuds, and they're going, no, I really think you were supposed to make the left there.
Okay. That's true.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm not going to male bash, I promise. Keith's not going to let me male bash, so don't you worry.
I mean, and so that's interesting. So it's the comfortability of trusting. You're going to trust what the coordinates say. Men are going to think about, well, I know how it's supposed to be done.
Exactly. Yeah. And as women, we are always open to learning a new way and not listening.
But eventually we will come back once we get off course.
Yes. Well, we need you to come back. If we want
to, though.
That's right. We need you to come.
Yes.
So what happens? Okay, so here we go. We're getting into it now. So what happens?
We're getting deep now, right?
Now we're getting there. Yeah. Giving people a chance to tap in here. I've been kind of harassing everybody on social media that we're live. But so what is it that is really impeding the trust? What's getting in the way of the trust? That something as simple as a direction, it almost feels like it's a respect thing to me. Like it's some bigger connotation that women haven't gotten the key for yet, which, well, maybe some women that have been married for 10, 20, 30 years, they get it. But people like me, the layperson, is like, what the heck is wrong with you? The darn thing said left. Why would you go right? Why would you do that? And now as we're questioning them, it may feel like a respect issue, where for us it's a logic issue, just complete logic. So help me with this respect thing. And
that's a good one, and I think that's one of the great things about my practice, because I can always speak for the male point of view.
Yep, absolutely.
And what's fascinating about me, and one thing I enjoy about being a coach, is because I see I can see all aspects of someone's relationship in my own marriage. I was like, oh yeah, I've gone through that, or I maybe even going through it now. Okay. So I know what my feelings are from a male that maybe the husband can't share. So I can always kind of not speak for them, but can give them a different perspective. Uh-huh. So I think, really as men, we take a lot of pride, I guess, in knowing things, or just, I know this, I know that. And it's kind of a knock or a notch, a chink in our armor when we don't know. Mm-hmm. 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 When we don't know. So then to have to admit that as well, makes it like, okay. And I think deep down we also may feel, well, we know our wives are superior in certain aspects. They can probably talk us down in any kind of argument. Yep. I think we try to use strength and yelling to kind of shout down a woman in arguments. Yep. and whereby women will logic it down and will beat it down. It's like, well, and keep questioning until, their husband is like reduced to like mush. And then it's like, okay, look, see, I won. I won this argument. Yeah, right?
Oh, because we can out-talk you guys for real.
You're going to keep going until you win. Yeah. That's not necessarily a great thing. So it's like, okay, great, you won, and now your husband is now reduced to nothing because you basically beat him down. Right. And so I think that's one of the reasons why men will just not listen. Yes. It's like, okay, we'll not listen. And so they're like, oh, we'll only be, I'm just going back to the GPS. We'll be lost for a little while, but we'll eventually get back and say, see, I told you we could go this way and we would get to the destination. It might have taken longer, but we still got there. Yeah. Yeah. Whereby a woman's going to be like, look, we want to be efficient and take the least amount of time to get there because I don't have time to waste because I got all these other things to do. Yes. It doesn't. And the woman may not have shared all the things that they need to get done. They just know that they have these things to do.
Listen, let me tell you something. It's crazy. Right. Yeah. I can hear you making in my mind, there's all of these excuses, but this nonsense is crazy. If the GPS is telling you to turn left, let's turn left. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And so here's the flip side, which you may know this because you've worked with people for a long time, but I'm going to tell you, because I'm speaking up for my women here, is when you ignore us, that is a sign of disrespect for us. Because you're ignoring what we're trying to say because it's very obvious. And so the thing escalates. And so let's just make it even worse. I know for me, I am a type A personality of epic proportions. Right? Yeah, okay, and so that even grates against my nerves that much more. Right? So instead of continuing to talk, I have to go inward because if I don't go inward, we're going to have that bit of a chew down, as you described. And unfortunately, with women, we will take it very personally if you won't listen to us. And so it gets nastier and it hurts more because we really are good with the spoken word. Right? We can go there. We absolutely know how to go there. And so, all right, so how do we mitigate this thing, Keith? How do we stop it from happening?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and that's where the sports kind of vernaculars come in. Because I think also women don't want to hear, let's just say, why would, for example, let's go back to the Jeep. Why wouldn't you turn left? Right. She wouldn't want her husband to say, because I really don't acknowledge what you say is the truth. Right. You're not going to want to hear that because that'd be like, oh, wait. So why did I marry this cat, this dude? Because he really doesn't believe anything that I say. Right. And so it's like, okay, so if he doesn't believe anything I say, that he doesn't believe in me. So therefore, I married the wrong person. Right. So you'll use other ways to get back and to show your frustration, whether it be withhold sex or just not talk to him. Or whatever. Yep. But that's not really, you're not really being clear on what it is that you're mad about.
Well, we're petty because we're petty. Right. We're petty.
Or just, just don't really want to, I wouldn't necessarily say petty, but just don't want to get to the truth or get to the real issues.
All right.
I mean, you can use petty. That sounds great too.
Yeah, it happens. Listen, we're very complicated, and so we have turned it into this whole other thing by that point.
So so basically, using the concepts, it's like we're not working well as a team because when I try to share my knowledge or what I think is right, you disregard it.
That's true.
So it's like, okay, as a team, so you could just say as a team, you listen to the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
When they give you the play, if you don't follow the play, what's going to happen? And, he'll know that vernacular. So whatever sport that person enjoys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And so it'll be like, so then you can just say, well, see, this is what you're doing to me.
Yeah.
And he'll understand.
Yep.
That. It's like, okay, so then at least gives him an opportunity to think as opposed to the other way. Because the other way is just like, as far as feelings, it's like, it's always about feelings,
right.
With you. And then I just can't wrap my head around that.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And I say petty because I'm being petty, but
yeah.
But it's so. Well, here's the thing, right? When we give that simple example, that I'm sure many people, when they hear this, are going, "Oh my gosh, yes! Were you in the car the other day?" Right? Because it happens, and then when they don't talk about it, and I was being a little silly with some of it, but it's the truth. Because then when it does happen, that's now a seed that's been planted. Right.
Yeah,
and even though they may get beyond it, the woman will let it go and finally just give the man what he wants, or, makes him feel good again. They feel like they're back on track. But she's now deposited that in the back of her head. And so is he. Right. And so is he.
Yeah,
and over time. And then this is when they come to you 5 years later. The marriage is over. And it literally started from something as simple as that because nobody communicated.
Right, but you know what's funny about that? The person will never go back and discuss it. So even if it was a small detail, like for example, in games, after basketball games, every game there's always a film session.
Yeah.
Or they discuss, and if there was a minute detail where they were off track, they'll study it.
Yeah.
And they'll analyze it. They may even practice it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But in relationships, we don't do that. We'll sock it away. Especially women. Well, usually, I shouldn't say especially. Usually women will sock it away and put it in the computer, the O drive, in order to be recalled at a later time.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Like, what? I don't remember that.
It's so true. Yeah.
We don't have that big. We don't have that large O drive file.
That's true. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, you got the zip. I know. You got the zip drive. You got the
We got the hard drive. Yes, we do.
And
the
when it
big
needs
one.
to be put in, you're going to put it in.
That is so true. Oh, my gosh. Well, here's the deal, though. Okay, so I'm going to get off of that for a minute because I want to get to this next question. And before I do that, I want you to give you a minute. Just tell people how somebody's listening to this going, all right, yeah, I can relate to some of this. This guy's absolutely talking my language. He gets it, right? Maybe he can help my husband. Listen, that's how it goes. Maybe he can help my husband when maybe it's you that he needs to help. But anyway, how do they get in touch with you? I want to give you a second to tell them that.
Well, they could get in touch with me a few different ways. The best way is probably go to an email, strive to succeed. That's STRIVE, the number 2, succeed at Comcast.net.
Okay.
They can go to my website, which is strivetotsucceedcoaching.com. And then, sign up for the newsletter. There's also a way to contact me, that email as well, which is info@strivetotsucceedcoaching.com.
Okay. All right.
And those are really the great, probably the best ways to get a hold of me.
Okay.
If it's really, I have my cell business number as well, which is 201-486-4467. If you need me right now, that's probably the best way to do it.
That was pretty bold. That's pretty bold.
And, and just to, give me the issue.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. I hear that. So, okay, that's awesome. And later in the show, because I love it when we can take action, right? Keith's going to be having a couples retreat, and I'm going to let him talk all about that toward the end of the show. But and that information's on your website, right? The couples retreat. Yeah. So tell them where to find that.
I have a business Facebook page. It's on that.
It's on your Facebook page. And what's the name? What's the name of the Facebook page again?
It is Couples Conversation.
Couples Conversation. You can find out more about that retreat there. Okay, cool. We'll be back in just one moment. Hey, listeners, this is Federica. Thanks for listening to my podcast. I upload new shows here every week, and you can catch all my past episodes from season 2 right here on this podcast station. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll get notified when I upload new shows and when I go live. So to find out more about me, you can visit my website at www.fredericapeterson.com. Here, you'll have access to my latest blogs, information on upcoming guests, all my live events, and so much more. You can also receive periodic updates directly from me by subscribing to my newsletter. I'd love to hear from you, so drop me a note and let me know how I'm doing. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, all accessible from my website. Thanks for helping me shift the atmosphere.
Yeah.
All right, so let's carry on. My next question I want to ask, so much of your passion around relationships came from experiencing some of the emotional instability you observed in your students when you were a teacher. We talked about that early on. Mm-hmm. So share with us about that time in your life, that instability that you were looking at. I know we talked about that a little bit in the show, but how does that context kind of tie back to what you're seeing and doing today and being able to help and even identify things up front without people telling you through the experiences you had early on, Right.
And we kind of mentioned that.
Yeah.
Where, and I mean, it's funny. So I wouldn't say I'm a big macho guy, as far as, thinking I'm God's gift. One, being short has some of those challenges, but it's just that may also the way I was raised, to value and respect women, and and I was more into dating just one woman as opposed to just having multiple dates and things like that. Yep. So when I would see, how arrogant or just how macho the teens would be, I would, not that I would laugh, but I was like, okay, you just don't understand.
Right, the bravado.
But then when they would come into my office, and some of them cried and were just reduced to like, I'll just, being that they would never trust women again. And I was like, wow, that may be the case. And was that stemming from the fact that they were in a relationship? Maybe it might have been the first time they had been in a relationship with a young girl, and the fact that it didn't work out. And so I think about just the communities and would hear like a lot of the young people, and this is young girls as well, didn't have a great understanding of what a healthy relationship looked like.
Right.
And so if you keep extending this, problems to the generation, so that means their kids will also have an unhealthy understanding of what relationships will look like. Yep. And I track some of the kids that I've seen through, Facebook and see that does still occur.
Yep.
And it was very, and so it would be very, for the ones that took what we would talk to heart, I've seen some of the fruits of that, whether they're in a good job or they're following their passions. Yeah. As opposed to having to now be parents.
Yeah.
It's a big
difference.
Because they just, there's hard to get an understanding of what parenting is all about. Even if you are working and have a good job and all that, parenting is not is a tough thing. Yeah. And it does put you through changes in a relationship. Yeah. And so, one of the things where I, kind of also led to the inspiration was, that back in the marriage, the thing where it's all about the marriage, the wedding, wedding, spending Google gobs of money on the wedding. And so I would go to, kind of these wedding shows where they have all the different vendors.
Yep.
And talking about my program, and you would have thought it was like kryptonite to Superman. Nobody would come to the table because nobody wanted to talk about the marriage. They wanted to talk about the wedding.
The wedding.
What I need for the wedding. I need this. I need that.
That's right.
There's that show about the wedding I used to love. Watch on Lifetime all the time.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. With David Turturro? Is that the one with David Turturro?
No, it was before that. It was before the stuff really exploded.
Okay.
Wasn't Say Yes to the Dress. Wedding Story. I would love to watch those.
Oh my God.
And I'm sorry. I know you're like, oh, this ain't a normal dude, but
but I watched those. My sister-in-law was a bridal gown designer.
Oh yeah, I used to love watching A Wedding Story.
Yeah.
And then you would. And not to that. So then you would just hear about couples spend all this money. And then, 2 or 3 years later, there is money for the divorce. It's like, okay, why are you spending, all that money you spent went down the drains because, you were just concerned about the wedding story and not about the marriage story. Yeah. It's
very true. And we see that now. I mean, I hate to say it, but I remember the whole Juanita Bynum thing. That was just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that years ago? Oh my Lord, that wedding was amazing. And they didn't last, 5 years? Poor thing. I just felt bad for them. And with saying that, I'm going to go back to what you were talking about, this whole bravado thing with, these men and how they don't respect women when they were younger, right? These young boys. And the ironic part of that, Keith, which I am sure, it makes me bang my head against the wall, but I was one, so I get it. But that women are so attracted to that nonsense. We are so attracted to that bravado. Well, not all of us, but some of us. I know I was one of those knuckleheads. Mm-hmm. The guy that is, he just seems like he's all of that. And we're so attracted to him because we feel like we're going to make you love me. It's something about that, right? But there's something super dysfunctional about that. And I think a lot of women... And as well as men, because I think men see the same thing. It's something about the challenge. But there's something dysfunctional about that because anybody that thinks they're better than somebody else, there's something else going on there. And usually they don't. That's just the outward appearance. They're trying to make up for all the insecurity that's going on underneath. But I believe all that emotional imbalance, because when you finally get that person, you've got all these imbalances that are going on. And we're just so happy because we've got this person that everybody wanted. But what do we have? Right? What do we really have? Do you see?
So
do you see the?
Let's really. So let's. If we're going to get deep, let's really get deep here.
Yeah.
So if you look at someone like that, that's not bravado. What happens? Like when you see them on TV, they get laughed at. Mm-hmm. They get ridiculed. Like. Mm-hmm. They're a mockery, like on commercial. So who wants to be that? Right. So no, that I have emotions, things like that. I mean, right? They were. Yeah. I mean, Tyrese, who was you would say he's a handsome man. He was a bravado guy. Oh yeah. Because Tyrese is part of the what show is the
Fast and
Furious series. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But when he was getting all emotional and stuff, folks were ready like, oh, what's wrong with him?
Right.
So and I'm not saying I believe in all of Kanye's things, but Kanye's showing a different side of who he is, and I mean,
not going to argue with you about that.
I'm sure the Trump thing has something to do with that, where people are like writing him off. But I'm just saying he does. It is a sign of weakness.
Right.
For most. So
vulnerability. I like to call that vulnerability.
Okay, vulnerability. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, though. I think that's the problem. It's looked at as a weakness, and it's a vulnerability to different
absolutely.
things.
So therefore, it takes one a special. So you're attracted to the bravado because you just don't even want to think about that the man has some vulnerabilities.
Right.
Because the woman already has vulnerabilities too. Right. It's like, oh, we don't need two people vulnerable. Right. I need someone to hold me up when I get like that. So I don't really, how am I going to do that for you when I have a hard time doing it for myself?
Right.
As a kind of a female. So you gravitate towards that because like, look, that's something I don't have
Yeah.
in my relationship. That's something that I need.
Yeah.
And when,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, when that's not true, it's like, I can't believe I married this dude.
Right. Well, you know what? I think they're both trying to compensate. The guy, right? But if the guy is doing it and he's acting out like this, and that he has to be Mr. I'm wonderful and I want every woman in the world. Well, the women that go with that, there's something broken there, and the man that's doing it, there's something broken there. And then when you marry that, Lord have mercy, right?
So it's funny. It's funny how you used. I heard you say, "I'm going to make him love me."
Yep.
So making
that's what it
is
goes.
like, okay,
that's how it sounds.
Which is crazy, right?
Crazy.
So he should just love you already. You don't need to make him do anything.
Really, because you're the prize. God gives a good thing.
Yeah. So that means you're trying to change the person. So that's a lot of the frustrations. Oh, I'm going to change when you're not. So that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yep. Absolutely. And which gets me to this thing, because boy, we're all over the place, but I like it. But when you think about it, right, all these hardships that they're going through. So why is it that people have a hard time selecting the right partner? Sometimes we'll get with a partner, but why is it that we have a challenge selecting the right partner? You know what I mean?
There's, I think, a couple things. One, we don't know who's right for us.
Right.
So when we're sitting down, if maybe you're praying or not praying, but you're really thinking about who you need for you, we have the external things.
Right.
So he needs to be this. He needs to be 6 foot and over. He needs to have this job. He needs to want to be this, or he wants to go here. He wants to travel. Not the characteristics that he needs. And so therefore, if he meets those criteria, I have met the one, because those are the things that we prayed for, or asked for, looked for.
Yep.
And then over time, when not that those things erode, but now you're used to those things. He's this, he's got a great job. But wait, he doesn't want to take care of my kids, or he doesn't want to do those things.
Right.
So now I feel alone, because now I'm doing all this. He's got the great job, but wait, he's not here half the time.
Yep.
Or he's in the house, but he won't talk to me, and I really enjoy conversation. So that's when the problems do show up, because we don't drill down deep enough.
Right. And I think that one of the things, you were saying that, it's all the things that you're picking out. But I think that it's something to be said about knowing who you are first. And I think in your 20s, you're still kind of a lot of us are still figuring that out. Right. And so you're picking from this place that's not fully matured yet. Right. So you're not fully matured in how you should be reasoning and reckoning with things. So for young folks, anybody that might be listening to this and your parents are telling you you're getting too serious in your relationship, you're too young, they're right. Because you're not mature enough to understand what's happening. And then if you bring a baby in the mix, let's just call that a whole nother level, right? So I think you need to know who you are first. And then picking somebody to be married to now, let's just say you're in your 20s or 30s, it's really picking somebody that's going to be right for you 20 years from now. Because that's really when it gets difficult, I would think.
Right.
Yeah, right? So what do you say to that? Like really knowing who you are first. Do you get into that discovery? I don't know what's happening back there, Keith. Sounds like you're opening a bottle or something. But
oh no, I was just walking.
Okay, we can hear you.
That's fine.
Yeah, so the understanding who you are first. How important is that when you bring people through couples counseling? How do you have them have that self-discovery?
Well, I do suggest that everyone go through couples counseling.
Yeah. And what does that look like? Yeah.
Well, I think, and so one of the things I've always said why it would be helpful to go through a program like mine, and someone actually started. I just was reading about how they started a business like that in the Bible Belt, just for that same reason. Is because you may not necessarily want to go to your pastor to do couples counseling, because you're not necessarily gonna unveil the mask of your insecurities like that with your pastor. And And so it's always great to go to an outside person, someone that doesn't know who you are, and then unmask what they're hearing, not what you need to hear. And I think it's helpful. A person can basically, I think in my counseling sessions, I lead with personality first.
Yeah. Oh, what's that mean?
Well, understanding your personality, like there's 4 different temperaments that you should know of yourself, and your partner should know. Like there's a thinker, there's a doer, there's a relator, and a inspirational.
Okay, I call it different stuff, but thinker, doer, guardian, and talker. Okay, got it.
And so with each personality, that personality will frame everything that you do in life, whether it be finances, sex, communicating. And so if you don't know your partner and what style they are, you may interpret the style that you want for them.
Right.
And there leads to the frustration because they're not doing it the way you expect them to do it.
Right. So they're not meeting those expectations.
Yeah.
Which is typically where a lot of the root of issues in relationships come from, because you're not meeting somebody's expectations. Right. And you don't know it.
You don't know it, right?
Right, and maybe you've set the bar for the expectations too high, too, right? Especially those doers. The doers will do that.
Yeah. One of my couples that I worked with early on, she was frustrated. He had lost his job, and so she was frustrated because she would give him tasks to do during the day. I don't know if it was just to keep him busy, but just things she had in her mind, because she was a doer, and she, instead of saying, "Oh, I need help," she would give him these tasks. Honey, can you do this, do that? And of course he would say sure, but then she would get mad because she didn't know if the things had been done. Interesting. And so when she would follow up with him, frustrated, like she would come in the house of guns a-blazing. Right. Did you do this? Did you do that? And so he would get frustrated because of course I did it. Right. And so once they went through the kind of the personality analysis, it shifted how they communicated with each other, because he was a thinker. So he thought about ways it could get done. Yep. But one thing he didn't do is communicate to her that he had done them so she could check it off the list. Yeah. Because doers or type A's. Yep. Type A's have things that they want to do and get done, but then they still keep it in their head because they don't know it's been done or not. Yep. So it's one thing one to do. Yep. So it helped both of them because he was able to utilize his gifts of thinking about ways to do it, but he just needed to communicate to her that it had been done. Okay. I got it. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk about, right? So, well, first off, tell folks again, because there may be some people that are like jumping in and out because this is kind of, it's long. And I'm sure when the recording comes on, people may listen to the whole thing through. But I want folks to know how to get in touch with you, how they can connect with you, how they can find out about your couples retreat that's coming up. The best way is to sign up for the newsletter, which is on the website, and that's www.strive, succeedcoaching.com, or on a Facebook page, which is called Couples Conversation. Because I do a Facebook live stream every other Saturday with my co-hosts, Eileen Grennan, and we do certain questions that we talk about in regards to relationships. Or Eventbrite as well. Eventbrite.com has a couples conversation retreat that's going to be in September. So, it's going to be fabulous. I'm sure we talk about it later, but it's going to be great.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So, so you guys now know how to get in touch with Keith. I want to make sure you know how to do that. And we'll be back in just one moment. Are you feeling unfulfilled in your career, relationships, or in your life? Your experiences can taint your perspective and cause you to fall short of your potential, causing feelings of frustration and unfulfillment. So how do you get back on track? Learn how to shift your atmosphere, Hi, this is Federica Peterson of Shifting the Atmosphere with Federica, and I'm here to tell you about my newest best-selling book, How to Shift Your Atmosphere. As a corporate leader and coach over the past 2 decades, I gained a great deal of experience in the area of transition and transformation through the work I've done with others and in my own life journey. In this book, I pulled together compilations of inspirational and motivational thoughts that capture some things I learned along the way that will provide you with some life-altering perspectives to help you get out of your own way, empower your thinking, and start creating the environment for positive change. So pick up your copy of How to Shift Your Atmosphere on Amazon today. So I had a lot of folks tell me that marriage is not for the faint-hearted. I mean, every single person almost that I have known tells me you need to be adjusted to do this thing, right? It's tough. But there was one thing, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, that people believe will happen when they get married, and that was around change, right? So what's that one reality check that you need to give everyone that's considering getting married, or even those people that may have just gotten married that haven't discovered it yet?
You know that the person who you marry is the person.
Yeah.
So they're not going to change. I mean, I thought, and so funny. So I've been married going on 21 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And thought that my wife was going to change into what we think how women are.
Yep.
They're, I was going to say cutesy. They are, just that cute, petite, fun-loving woman that we, as the man, we can be, we're like the king and we can just come in and they listen to everything we say. Not that they don't have an opinion, but, yes, honey kind of thing.
Yep.
And because that's the way my mom was. She wasn't, she had her opinion, but she was just more chill about it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was ran the household and that's kind of the way it was. So you're going to bring those things. And I brought it and I thought it was going to happen. So, and it didn't.
Yeah.
My wife she has her own opinion, which is great. Mm-hmm. Strong opinion. And, and so you have to acknowledge that that's what I acknowledge that that's what I needed. So I just needed to be chill with that and not thinking that, okay, I need her to mold her into this way in order for me to feel good.
Right. That's huge. I think we need to hear that, right? But we are who we are and we're not going to change. We're going to evolve, but the core of us isn't going to change, right?
And And the thing is, and people think, well, what's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, why do our marriages have to be a certain way? Mm-hmm. Why do they have to be a certain way? Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably where the men need to hear that. Why does your marriage have to be a certain way? Where, she's going to be there for you all the time sexually, because that's not happening either.
Right. Right.
That's not happening. She's going to listen to everything you say, like you think she's going to be yes, honey, all the time.
Right.
And that's not happening. That's just unrealistic. And why would you want that anyway?
Yeah.
You don't expect it, like your male colleagues not to do that.
Right.
Where they won't have an opinion, or your best friend. Y'all going to argue about who's the better basketball player, LeBron or Michael Jordan, and y'all going to come out still friends in the end. So why can't you have that with your wife? Mm-hmm. Wives for husbands the same way. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
He's not always going to do it the right way.
Right.
And it was so funny. He's not always going to fold the towels the way you want them.
Right.
Or always do that laundry. So why is it such a
big deal?
Big deal, yeah.
Because he was who he was when you married him, and vice versa.
Right, like when you went to his partner, you weren't checking to see if he folded the towels right.
Right.
Checked it off.
But you did, and you said that's okay. I'm gonna change him. You'll fold him right when I will.
Yeah, we're gonna get this right.
Yeah, exactly right. I got this. Don't worry about it. You're gonna know how to do it by the time I'm done with you.
Wow,
that's the truth. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God. So there's a couple myths, I believe, that couples need to be aware of as they enter into a marriage relationship. What would you say at least those top 3 myths are?
Well, we did
I think we
mention
got
about
one. Mm-hmm.
we did mention the change.
Yep.
I think also one of the myths is that that you're not going to go through something. Mm-hmm. There was going to be some defining issue that you're going to have to work through. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it may be kind of bad.
Yeah.
And things happen in life. You're the breadwinner may lose their job or want to quit their job.
Yeah.
Because they're just not happy. So do you want that person to be happy in your relationship? Mm-hmm. Or you just want them to stay there and be miserable so y'all can still travel or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
And then also myth is that the kids are going to change your marriage. Mm. Mm-hmm. You don't, I think a lot of couples don't get that.
Yeah.
The kids come and you think, oh, it's going to be, but the kids will change your marriage somewhat.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we don't go into that.
Okay.
We don't think, and there is, and that there's no playbook also for marriage.
Yeah.
You can have a playbook. You just need to work with your with your partner to make the playbook.
Mm-hmm. To make it work.
Make the play. I think a lot of times we just expect our marriages to work out. Mm-hmm. And we don't work at it like we do everything else. Mm-hmm. Like our jobs.
Right. Yeah. But people,
our jobs.
Oh my God. Anytime you're talking about interpersonal relationships, it is work. It is work. Even when you're not married, just in the job or your friends or, family members, it's just work. It is. It is. You have to be committed to the work. I'm right there with you because everybody has idiosyncrasies and different things that, that set them off. And then there's the evolution because I believe we are always constantly evolving based on our experiences, based on our maturity level, right? And things that we're going through in life. And so it's not always going to be the same.
Right.
Our reaction to things may not always be the same based on, how we're maturing. And so we have to be able to ebb and flow with each other, I feel.
And I think another one, which I just thought about, is that you don't realize how vulnerable you have to be in a marriage.
Oh, that's probably a good one.
Yeah, you don't realize. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be at a point where you might lose the person.
Yeah. Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, that's how vulnerable you have to become. Well, and I think a lot of times, and I've seen it just where, I can't share my feelings with that person or at least how I'm feeling about myself. That takes a lot. A lot. A lot of times there are people walking around with the mask with their partners.
That's heavy. Wow. I never even thought about that. That's really heavy. Mm-hmm. And you're living with this person day in and day out, but you still can't be yourself. How stressful is that? That's got to be incredibly stressful.
Well, in case in point, think about the type A people.
That would be me.
I know
that would be me.
Them.
Yeah.
But the type A people, they keep churning the wheel, right?
Yep. That's what we do.
It's like, I got to do this thing, that thing, this thing. Mm-hmm. And do you really have time to sit back and think about, well, one, why do you keep churning? And two, what is it that I really need? So I can breathe. You don't breathe. You don't get to breathe.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if you don't really get to breathe and take stock, it's like, reason why I am feeling this way is because I need this, or I need this in order to feel that and feel good about myself.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I got you. That's pretty interesting. I just never even thought about it like that. Okay. I like it. Well, there's one thing that I did want to touch on here. And I know we're into our hour, and some of you may be tired. We're going to do this kind of in two parts, but this is kind of the end of the first part. But and this one might be a little touchy, but I want to go here anyway. And we can agree that God wants us to be happy in marriage. Right. But being happy does not always mean sticking it out. I know there's some people that are probably now going, that's not true. Yes, it is. Keep listening to me. Christians especially are more prone to stay in an abusive situation because they believe that God's going to turn it around. And I'm not saying that they won't, so don't twist my words around. But there are some situations where you need to use common sense, and I feel like we stand behind Bible verses to justify something that's just been wrong from the beginning. So I want to spend some time here for a minute because I think, hopefully some folks have hung in here. And if you haven't, those that have that are getting something from this, I want you to just make sure you tweet it out to people. But I want to hear your thoughts around that because I think that sometimes we will use Christianity to justify bad behavior, And so I want to... Love and abuse are two different things. Let's just say that right out front.
Of course.
Love and abuse are two different things, but I think there's people that are so abused that they have twisted the two. That love has to hurt because that's what they've been taught. Maybe that's something, typically it's something that you were taught before you even got married or got into your first romantic relationship. It was something you were taught through the relationship through your parents or somebody in your family. I think that there was a seed that was planted there. And so somebody needs to change those lenses today so that they can understand what the truth is. And so when we're thinking about being happy in a marriage and not happy in a marriage, and where is it not okay to really keep trying to stick it out? And it's okay to say I'm throwing in the towel. I hope
and so we're talking from a Christian point of view.
Let's do that for this point.
Let's do that, yes.
Let's go there because
so,
I think,
I guess in essence, if there are pastors out there that are speaking from that lens, then, and you're following that pastor, then that's something that you really need to think about. Because, and I know that's not, there's no, it's not one of the 10 commandments, but thou shalt not strike or abuse.
Right.
In that particular language.
Right.
But there is a honor thy mom and thy mother and thy father and their wife. And, those things are, and so that's a part of not honoring.
Yeah.
The exact words are not, don't abuse. But to me, that's a part of honoring a person.
Absolutely.
And so, if you, let's just say, and I think there are people that have seen that or stay in that because their family, somewhere in their family, they saw it. And it was accepted. And so they're like, okay, if this was accepted from people that I looked up to or were my parents, so therefore I must have to do it too.
Right.
And then they stayed married, so I must do the same.
Yeah. And
so by leaving means failure or not honoring God. And so, you don't have anybody to go to. You can't go to your mother or your father because that was what was occurring.
Right.
So they know the messages that they're going to get there. And then if their pastor's also kind of reiterating that, you're kind of alone.
Yeah.
And so it does take a lot of strength for someone to break that cycle. It's very hard.
Yeah. Very hard. But listen, God does not say that you're going to stay in a relationship and be abused and hurt. I know you were talking about thou shalt not honor, but I'm going to stretch the needle a little bit. And this is just me speaking, so make sure everybody knows this. I'm not putting words in Keith's mouth. This is me. But there's also say that thou shalt not kill. And I know we feel that in the literal sense, but in the spiritual sense and in the physical sense, there is a manner of murder that goes on when a person feels as if they have to completely demolish another person's self-esteem, self-worth in order for them to feel better. To me, thou shalt not kill applies to that. That's just me. Because that's killing who the person is.
Right, but if we think deeper, more than likely, they already had that self-esteem issue. Before they got into the relationship with him. Because remember, you get attracted to certain people.
That's true.
So she already didn't have that self-esteem.
That's true.
Or he. I can't say she only.
It could be both. Yeah.
Or he, because they were drawn to, like you said, the bravado.
Yep.
So they were drawn to that and needed that for comfort.
Yep.
And so they didn't unpack what was underneath fast enough to know that, oh, wait, this is what he does?
Yep.
what he says, this is how he treats me. And by then it's too late.
Yep. And for men, I didn't mean to interrupt you because I want to go here too. Sometimes it's not the bravado in women that we see. It's people that we feel we need to save. I see so much of that. Men feel they need to save these women that are in these, impossible situations, and they can't take care of themselves, and so you want to take care of them, even though the situations that they're in are dangerous for you. It doesn't make sense. I
would push back on that.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't say save. Because
that's what it looks like.
In essence, it's about them, who they are. They're not trying to save the woman. The woman is really going to listen to what he'll do, what he'll do, or what he'll say. He's not going to give enough. She's not going to give enough pushback. So let's say in the beginning of a relationship, if he's doing what he normally does, and the woman's like, "Oh no, this is not going to work here," he's probably not going to stick it out, with her, because he's not. He knows he's not going to be able to break her down, He's gonna, it's almost that narcissistic thing. He's like, "Oh wait, no," and so that may happen. He may try to do it once or maybe even twice, and if he sees that it's not going to work, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm out. This is not working. This is not working for me because she's not going to listen to the nonsense." Right.
It's too much work for him. Too much work.
Right. Too much work, for him. And so, because I kind of, a woman can get fooled for a little while, but over time, if she is strong, she'll eventually okay, this it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, it's not really about the saving. It's more about she will kind of acquiesce to what I say and what I do.
That's interesting. Because from my lens, it was more of a saving. So you got two choices. You got one woman that's, got an excellent career. She's doing for herself. You guys can really build some things together if, you want to step up and be mature and hold it down. Or you got this other woman that is really not doing too much. She's barely making it. She has a few children. But you're looking at that going, well, wait a minute. This is a little bit easier for me. I can save her. I feel like I could contribute to her life. Or the other person, maybe I feel too intimidated to contribute. So that's why I was looking at that. Because I see that in these young men. I have at least 3 examples.
Okay.
Where I have seen that. And one lost his life over it. But where she just didn't have as much. And so felt like he was going to be able to contribute more. I'm putting thoughts in, these are thoughts.
Contribute more, right.
Right? Because this is a person that needs me. The one that.
So this woman had kids? She had kids?
She has kids, yeah. She's got kids, S. She's got children, right? She's got children, and
so who was the abusive one? The one with the kid, the one who. She was the abusive one.
Yeah. So this is where I think she is the abuser in the situation, because she's now got this guy wrapped around her finger, right? And she's able to get him to pull and do all these things that she needs him to do, and he doesn't even realize it because he thinks he's helping, but now he's getting tied into this web. Where he's not growing. He's, isolated from his family because his family doesn't really like this person and is trying to explain to him, listen, do you see what this woman is doing? You're both not growing. You're getting sucked into her world.
Well, there is still a self-esteem thing with him.
Okay.
Because he needed to save in order to feel good about himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me is a flip abuse. Yeah, it's a flip abuse.
So that's still a self-esteem thing for him. And so all the things that she's done, because I'm sure she did it early on. Oh, baby, can you do this for me? Do that for me?
Yes.
And so it's like, oh, she really needs me. So there was somewhere in his life early on that he didn't feel needed.
That's huge, because I think for the men, they could relate to that more so than the flip scenario that we were giving, which is typical for a lot of women where they're in an abusive situation. I feel this is the flip of abuse for men, in my mind.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, true. And I think we can also, and a big thing about that is because men are not taught to communicate early on feelings.
Okay.
We're taught to communicate through actions.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're doing this well, we're great.
Right.
If we're great at sports, we're fantastic.
Right.
I mean, look, they have AAU, which is kind of for basketball.
Yeah, I know what it is.
At a certain, where they pick, come on.
Teams,
so it's like, look, I'm a great athlete. I'm awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's an athlete or not.
Right.
But if he wasn't a great athlete,
right.
He was a nobody.
Right. I got what you're saying. It's
so
just interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's still Go ahead.
It's still a self-esteem thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't remember what you were saying before, but I just had to get that out.
And so, he's able to feel good about himself through the fact that she was able to use that. Mm-hmm. She took advantage.
Yeah. And the cycle just continues. I mean,
she
now that person that had all this potential is now being sucked into this other world.
Yeah. So I don't know how it'll take some shaking in order. So it'll either be a situation where it shakes him, or he would have to have somebody to point it out that doesn't know really the situation.
Right. Yeah. And that's what you always hope for, because it could turn out a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we've talked about that. And folks, so the bottom line is, if it's hurting you, if it's not building you up, if this marriage is sucking the life out of you, if you're depressed, you need to seek some help. It doesn't mean that this marriage is over, but it's something that you need to have somebody that, from an outside perspective, take a look at. Because just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you need to stay in it. I'm sorry. That's me speaking. I just don't feel that. I don't feel that that's true. I think that you need to speak to somebody that's qualified to be able to really assess and try to help you and your spouse. But if that thing is going to be detrimental to your health or to the safety of your children, to you need to get out of that. Because what God says about marriage is that when the two people come together, they come together to do his work. Right? It's not just coming together. It's coming together to do his work.
Right.
And if you can't get if you can't do his work, or if what is going on in your marriage is going against the principles of Christ, you need to think about that. I'm sorry. That's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, you go ahead. You said You said it plainly. You said it plainly. Yes.
Off we go to the next topic.
And I mean, even though divorce is mentioned that you shouldn't divorce. I mean but that's more Old Testament.
Yep.
Testament principles.
Yeah, but there are some, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are some caveats to that, even in the Old Testament, about separating from your husband or wife. And I don't know if it's adultery. I don't remember it, so don't quote me on that. But there's something in there. There's something in there. Okay, so let's carry on. So when is it? What are the three things that every couple needs to consider before they throw in the towel? And this is for anybody. We're not talking Christians here. There are some times when it's okay to say, this is just not going to work. We made the decision to get married. We were too young and mature. We didn't have the right tools that we needed or information to make the right decision to get married, but we did it anyway. But what are the three things that every couple should consider before they throw in the towel?
Consider. Let's see. Well, if you're just not growing from an individual standpoint, if you can, I think that's probably the biggest one. If you just can't communicate together and your relationship is more detrimental, not just to you, but also your children. Yeah. And the third one, is just, if it's just not healthy if it's just not a healthy relationship whereby you're, almost physically ill, from being together, or you just, if you just can't stand the sight, because you do hear those instances where we're better now as friends.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. We're better now we get along better now as friends, than we do as we're in a marriage, or doing things unconventional. So maybe you just need to have separate residences. I mean, I have read some studies where people don't live together. They're married, but they live in separate residences because it makes the relationship better.
Yeah,
I know
that
may sound
Yeah.
that may sound that's unconventional.
Yeah.
But
this.
if that needs to be done in order for the relationship to work,
Yeah.
then that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I know this is, there may be, which is maybe outside, Christian principles. There could be other things that you would need to do to save, for the relationship to work. Right. And you have to be open and honest about sharing whatever those things are.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, I think that those are 3 things to consider. And then find yourself a good marriage counselor.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Licensed marriage counselor. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Or certified.
Or certified. Yeah. Well, certified. You know what I mean?
Certified.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Counselors are certified. Correct.
That you can, work with.
Right.
Work with.
Absolutely right. Which Keith is one of them. So Keith, I want you to tell them how to get in touch with you. And then I want you to spend some time talking about the marriage retreat.
Okay. Yes, you can get a hold of me through my email, which is strive, STRIVE, 2 succeed coaching. Strive to succeed at Comcast.net, or info, which is info at strive to succeed coaching.com. You can also go to my Facebook page. I have a couple of them, Strive to Succeed in Marriage. Also Couples Conversation, which is also our kind of Facebook page, due to our blog or video log, which we do every other Saturday at 2:00, between 2 and 3. And so the Couples Conversation retreat is going to be fantastic. It's going to be probably one of the best things you could do as a couple. One, for a couple reasons. One, we just don't align ourselves with other couples, especially in the Black community. We think, it's our own struggle. We don't need to share. We don't think nobody else is going through this. And so this is an opportunity, one, to reward your marriage whatever year it's in, and then to hang out with other couples and do things that are fun. Yeah. So, the exercises that we'll have, it's not a 6 to 8 hour long retreat where we're just talking about marriage. You're going to have exercises and fun exercises that you will do to help equate your marriage and that helps, because I kind of learned that through Rising Tide Capital. It's one of the benefits is that because we do those experiential learning exercises, and you are able to transform it to entrepreneurship, where you can do those same exercises and transfer it to your marriage.
Ah, very nice.
And so we're going to be at Aquaba, which is their Aquaba Estates, I want to call it, because they have several bed and breakfasts in this area. It's a Black-owned bed and breakfast out in Bethany, Pennsylvania. The Noble Lane Mansion has 14 rooms. Oh, wow. It has an indoor pool. The grounds are fabulous. Wow. And there'll be a lot of activities you'll get to do with your partner, because there's a lot of free time in there. There's going to be we're going to have a greeting kind of cocktail meet and greet. You get to meet the business owner, who was, she has a great story. She was an editor for Essence magazine, and then she decided that she wanted to open these bed and breakfasts. So she has, I think, 4. She has one in DC. She has one in Cape May. She has one in Brooklyn, and then she has the Pennsylvania space. So, shout out to Aquaba, because you want a nice little getaway in this area, in the tri-state area, which isn't far. You have a lot of choices to choose from, and the grounds are just fabulous.
Wow,
so it's really good.
Cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's the weekend of September 21st. So get if you haven't checked it out, check it out now, because I think there's only 5 rooms. I think there's 5 to 7 rooms left.
Wow, you better move on it, people.
Yeah, and so you gotta get in it while you can.
Get in there.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's a chance to get away, with your partner.
Yep, and spend some time on your marriage, because I think we're too busy, right?
We are too busy.
Too busy.
You're too busy, you know. And I mean, I know it is like, wait, school has started, but I mean, it's the second week of school.
Yeah.
Second week of school, really.
Yeah.
You know, kids really don't start doing anything till after, I think, the Jewish holiday.
Okay.
Anyway, so, you know, you might as well, like, okay, find a babysitter, find a baby. Don't say, because, like, I don't have a babysitting. Look, tell your parents now, it's like, look, you know, we need this weekend, please. If you use just same principles that you used on me to make me a great person.
Right.
Just use the same thing on them, and they'll be all right. It's only for a weekend.
Yeah.
Or, you know, look, if you need to hire somebody, hey, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a great. It'll be well worth it.
I like it. I like it. And they should read that book, In the Paint, before they go. How do they get a copy of your book, In the Paint?
Yeah, In the Paint. You can go to. It is on Amazon. You can say In the Paint, but also make sure How to Win at the Game of Love. You can also go to blurb.com, which is BLURB.com, and search for In the Paint, and you can purchase it there.
Okay. Can they purchase it from your website too?
They can't purchase it from the website.
Okay.
If they want to email me and they want a copy, I can make accommodations for you as well.
All right. All righty. So let me just ask you this question, because I know how my single peeps are. They like to crash the married people events. They are not allowed to come to this marriage retreat. Am I right?
I've changed that a little much, because there may be some couples that have been in a long-term relationship.
Okay.
For some time.
Okay.
And they may need this in order to determine if they're going to go to the next level.
Okay.
And so that's an important thing.
Okay.
That because they might have, let's say, they given the ultimatum or kind of hinted at marriage, but there's been no movement on somebody's part.
Right.
And so this may be helpful.
This might be helpful.
And in all aspects, we are in the times where people don't feel like marriage is an institution, but they believe in their partners.
Yeah.
And so if they've been in a long-term relationship, 5+, you're technically married. You know?
Yeah.
So this is a retreat for you, because you are doing those things.
Okay. So for couples. So couples and married folks, but not for singles without a spouse or a partner.
That's correct. That's correct.
Those are the people that I'm talking about that like to crash.
Yeah. No, you're going to be mad.
I'm not.
You're going to end up going shopping somewhere.
So I ain't gonna call y'all out by name, but I know you personally. Don't bring your butt to this marriage retreat.
No, you're not going to be. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to be mad. Some aspect.
It kills me. I'm like, wait a minute. The one at our church sells out all the time, but we still got those single people sitting up there taking the seats up. Cut it out.
Yeah, taking the notes.
You are not. Listen. First off, get the date. Then try to think about that. Don't get me started. Anyway.
Well, you know why? Because they are thinking that person that they're supposed to find is going to be there.
Well, they're married to somebody else. That is not a mistake.
That's why they go. That's why they go. They're hoping. Oh, wait, the guy or girl that does believe in marriage is might going to be there, there you go. And somehow we will connect because we're the only two single people there, and
my God.
Something out of the movies,
But then they won't go to the single stuff, so we're all screwed up. They're all screwed up.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
that's
my God! All right.
Funny.
Well, for our married folks, the segment ends for you now, although you can listen to the rest of this if you like. But I wanted to kind of do an addendum to this show as well. And when I actually put it out here, the recordings are going to be separate so that people know what they're listening to.
Gotcha.
But I want to now kind of shift the gears for a hot minute and talk about our single peeps, because I think if you are, you're very well versed in the whole area of relationship and communication. And so I think this would be helpful for people that are single, that are looking to find that soulmate. Maybe to be able to help them and challenge them in some of the bad behaviors that I will say we, because I am still single, have been displaying, or maybe just some things that we haven't known about, blind spots, right? So for my single folks, can you give us some pointers in the preparation process for a mate? So what are some thoughts that you have that you could share with singles around selecting the right mate? What in your experience? I mean, you've been married for a long time, and you dealt with a lot of married couples, and probably couples that aren't even married. So, what are some pointers? What are some things that we need to do to prepare?
Well, what's interesting is that we put a limitation on dating.
Okay.
So we always have this kind of caveat that that you have to have so many dates, and once you get to that date, then okay, so now we should be getting married.
Yeah.
You don't put a limitation on how long you need to date in order to get married. You need to know that person inside and out. That's one thing. I think also another thing is that we don't have our own value system of what we want in a partner. We will look more to the external and not the internal.
Ah, that's good.
Like what, for example, like who are we going to be seeing? How are we going to? So one of the funniest things I've ever heard is how is that person going to look when I have on heels? So he's got to be a certain height, because if I put on heels and I'm much taller than him, that's not going to look right.
Right. And let me tell you something. When you start hitting 60, you ain't going to be putting them heels on anyway.
Well, you've heard, I'm sure you've heard that, right?
Oh my God,
have you heard that
definitely,
before?
definitely. Yes. Especially with my tall friends.
Is that the most ridiculous thing that you've heard of?
Yeah, I've heard it. Well, I get it. You get it. I get it. But it is but over time, yes, it's ridiculous, because this person may have the personality and everything else about them. That's not a reason to discount them. I completely agree.
Think that what's deeper. You might have met the person that is going to stand by you.
Yeah, you're right.
Stand by you the most, and you discounted that person just because they were shorter.
You're right.
And I'm short, so I have an issue with that.
I know you
so
do.
You know what I mean?
I know. I get it.
So you discounted that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, even men too. So
true.
My wife and I were about the same height, and so it's not like I can dominate her. And where she's this little petite thing where I can, and you talked about saving, where I can save her and listen to. She's, somewhat on my level. Yep. From a height standpoint. So therefore, I can't do that. She can look me right in the eye and say, that's BS.
Right.
And so if you really think about that, that can be very empowering. Okay. Because guys, you're going to go through it too. And if you have somebody that can stand up for you and hold you as well as you can hold her, right? That's the person you should be looking for, right? Not someone that's going to be out when you can't hold them up over a specific period. That's true.
And I know a lot of women that will stand up, but for the tall man, they will jump up on that chair and get eyeball to eyeball to you and let you know what you cannot do.
And I do, yeah.
Right, they'll look great.
Think about the one that was thinking that the guy was going to hold, the guy was going to do everything for them. When they can't, they're like, okay, I'm out. Yeah, you don't have it for me anymore. I'm going to find somebody else. Right. So so I think that's some real kind of deep stuff there.
I got you. I think my thing is there definitely are some physical things with me that I go not going to happen, and it has to do with the health and fitness. I cannot deal in that space for someone that is a complete couch potato. That's a problem for me. That will absolutely take me to I wouldn't get past first base because it turns me off so badly.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'll tell you why.
It's a mentality.
Yeah, it's because of the fact that if you're a person that likes to do things,
and very active,
active and experienced thing, and then that person does not, then that's a problem. Because I know someone like that now. Yeah. He's a couch potato, doesn't really feel like going out. Yep. And you're going to end up, but that's more of that to me, that's a value system.
That's a value system. Okay.
That's not more of an external look. That's just a value, someone that enjoys life.
I'm glad you said that, Keith. Thank you very much
so there
for
you go.
All my friends that used to get on my case about, well, just because he's fat and he doesn't work out. I said, I'm sorry. That is a problem for me.
Well, okay. let me peel back. He can be maybe a little overweight, but if he likes to do things, then
that's different. That's different. That's different.
That's different. Yes.
That is different. But that's someone different. That just likes to eat poorly and not work out, and no, that to me is a heart attack on its way to happen. And I am not trying to be a geriatric nurse. Not happening.
That's correct. Yeah, because I mean, there will be some health issues later on. Yeah, but that's a value. But overall, arching, that's the value system. You value being healthy, and that person does not.
Yes, I got a little sub around the middle myself, but I could I could jump on a spin bike for an hour and a half. Anyway, so
I get it.
Online dating. I want to talk about that for a hot minute because I think everybody's doing it. Even the people that are married, this stink shame. But anyway, what are your thoughts around online dating? And does that selection process look different? Or are there things that they should consider online dating when you're meeting somebody online versus meeting in person? And I know that hasn't been your world, but maybe you've come across that through married couples or couples that you've counseled. Is there something we should pay attention to?
And so that's funny because we talked about that in my couples conversation. We oh
wow, that's cool.
We do questions. I do questions on specific topics, some that may have happened that week, or just questions that will get people to discuss certain things in regards to relationships. It's not always about marriage, but just relationships in general. Okay. And the one thing that came up was the online dating. Okay. Our older people, how should people view online dating as they get older? Because that's usually, people think online dating is for younger people, and it's not always the case. I think in online dating, your profiles have to be on point. You have to be clear about what you want or who you are. Yeah. Because you're going to look at a profile, because profile it's not 3-dimensional, it's 2-dimensional. Yep. You just see a picture and you're like, oh, that's a nice picture. They look good. If it's real,
right.
You don't know the time. You don't necessarily know the time period and when the picture was taken.
It's true.
And so then when you meet them, you're like, oh wait, that's not the guy in the picture. That's not the girl in the picture.
Right.
And so that'll end it right there.
Yeah.
That'll cut that off. So it is more of a physical thing.
Right.
But then you have to, in these, and so don't think the connection's going to be automatic. That you think connection, because usually, before you set a date, you're going to do these questions. Right. You're going to talk via text or email. You might talk on the phone. But then you probably won't on the phone because you're not trying to get stalked. You don't want any of that. Right. And so you may ask questions, and of course they have time to answer as opposed to, reading their body language or their tone. So therefore you need to probably take your time a lot longer. Yeah. And so one of the things I forgot to mention in the, one of the earlier questions, that you also need to put the person in also a stressful situation. Oh. Whereby, a good one is probably, one of those escape room things. Have you ever done that? Nope. I don't know. I get a little claustrophobic there, but, But thing is, that's a great date. That's a great date to go to escape room because that's a certain amount of time you have to get out of this. They give you clues. There's one in Montclair and New Jersey, and they give you certain time period to get out of this room. It's a couple of rooms. Woo. So they give you clues, and the great thing about it is that you will see your partner in stressful situations. That's interesting. So if they start yelling and screaming and going off, right, that should be a flag. Oh my goodness! Like, okay, so therefore, what's going to happen when we're in a stressful situation in life? Right. Are they going to start yelling and screaming and cursing and calling me all sorts of names? Yeah. That kind of thing. I never thought about that. I'm thinking like foosball or something. No. Whirly ball. We can go play that. But fun. No, that's fun. That's fun. This is because you have a certain amount of time to get out of a room. Yeah. Out of this room. And there are clues, and you have to work together in order to get out. You can't just rely on your own individual self to get out of this thing. I like it. Okay, I'm taking that one, Keith. I'm going to try that out and let you know what happens. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good
That's
one.
a good one.
That's
Yeah.
a good one. Now, is it dark or are there lights on?
No, it's not dark. It's not
Okay,
dark.
then I can do it. See, if it's dark and you got spooky people coming after me, I got a problem.
It's almost if you're, it's almost if you're, they give you clues that you need in order to get out of this. You're like trapped in. I mean, they let you out, of course, if you lose.
Right.
But they give you these time periods and you have to get these doors open by finding clues.
But there's no, like, they're not letting spiders out in the room or the lights aren't out.
No. It's nothing like that. Nothing like that.
I could do it.
But then you really can get to know a person by, when you're in a stressful situation. That's why Amazing Race, that's why that show was always great, because you do get to see those things.
Yeah.
Because you have to work with a team, and you have to answer clues, and it's stressful.
Right. Okay, that's good. Hey, that's a good point. That was worth this whole hour for me. Holy kidding.
Amazing. Yeah,
Let me stop. That was good. That was really good. So we talked about weddings earlier on, right? So for those of you that didn't hear it, you go back to the other show. Check that out, because we talked about weddings and how we focus more on the wedding than we actually do the going down the aisle for the first time. But would you say there are like some top things that couples that before they get married that they need to have, like a checklist before they get married? So what would that look like? What would the checklist look like?
I think one of the checklist is, of course, the communication. How you communicate, and how do you communicate during stressful situations? Okay, because like for an example, someone that's a doer, when they're stressed, they're going to communicate. They're going to communicate, it's my way. Yep, that's right. It's my way.
And I don't need a greeting or salutation to tell you about it. Absolutely.
It's my way. And so someone that's more of a relator doing stressful, they're going to acquiesce. So that's going to be, that may work for a while. Yeah. But you may get mad. It's like, look, I don't need someone that has an opinion. If you don't have an opinion about, so this is not working for me. But, so there may be a flip side. You may have to say, okay, look, I'm in this. I want to be with you for all these other aspects. Yeah. How do I, then you have to figure out what you need to say to draw him out, to get him to talk. Okay. So it may be, knowing how the person communicates, so therefore you can formulate. Because I do think, and this is my own personal, I think you can get married to anyone. There's no like one specific person. Really? That you need to get married to. Okay, that's interesting. Like from a personality standpoint, you always hear the zodiac signs. Oh, your best person is someone that's this, or someone that's an Aries, or you know what I mean? Yep. I think you can, if you know all the plays or what plays that are going to be successful, you can marry that person. Interesting. Because in essence, me and my wife are the exact opposites. Yeah, that's true. And I see that, though. I see that a lot with married couples. There are very few things that we are the same on. But we value what we bring to the table, and we strengthen each other up in those strengths, and don't kind of lay in the weaknesses, right, so to speak. Right. And I think where couples don't work is where they focus more on the weaknesses and what the person's not doing, as opposed to what they are doing. Right. So that's one thing. Two is the money thing is really big. You need to know what their thoughts are about money, as far as how they viewed money when they're with their friends and also with their family, because that really is a big deal, and that's definitely what we don't discuss. Yeah. How you want to raise your kids, how you're going to lift up your kids, because once the kids come, most of the time it is always about them. Yep. It's usually and most of the time the mom is going to be invested in their children. It's a whole thing that men really can't get behind, because they're not in our bellies. So we're not. That doesn't come to mind. It does for some men, I think. But for the most part, the women are thinking about all of these things, right, whereby we'll think, it's more one-dimensional for us. It's like, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Right. And so you need to think about, well, how we want to raise them. If we see a gift, how are we going to cultivate that gift? All those things you need to talk about. Okay. All right.
So we've got how you communicate, especially during stressful situations, money, and then how you're going to raise children.
Yeah, and I think also sex probably needs to be also that conversation too. Okay. Men are going to think about, they need sex all the time.
Right.
And when when there are these ebbs and flows, it's going to be like, okay.
Right.
But I think one of the things is just the intimacy is really what needs to be discussed.
Oh,
that's just something that's overlooked entirely.
Right.
You may need touching as a way to feel close to your partner. And just funny, this morning, my wife and I were just up, just talking and it wasn't long, 30 minutes.
Yep.
But it was great to just sit down and just have a conversation and talk.
Yeah.
And, that needs to be taught. How can I feel close to you as a partner?
Okay. That's good. Okay. I like it, Keith. That's great. That's a great checklist. I hope everybody got that. So it's how to communicate, especially during stressful situations, money, how you're going to raise your children, sex, but more relating to how are you going to relate to one another intimately, right?
Yes.
Whether that be through sex, touching, talking, whatever that is for you, because everybody has their different love language. So
everyone has a different love. Yeah, that's right.
Got it. Good deal. So let me move on to the next subject, which is around breaking up. We all know those couples that get together, then they break up, and then they get together, and then they break up, and then they... Oh, my Lord. What's the deal with that? And do they need to just end it already? I mean, is that like a warning sign?
Are couples really doing that, though?
For
the most part now?
I think older, not so much, but probably younger, maybe not. But I do see that sometimes.
So you know what's interesting about
it's like drama,
that?
Constant drama. Lord.
What we used in our class when I used to talk with the kids. Mm-hmm. And I call it the sexual semen. Mm. I know you're like, well, what is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Well, when the cement's on the ground, it's pretty much permanent.
Yeah.
So when you're engaged in that intimately with somebody, sex-wise, it's constantly there. So you remember that. Mm-hmm. And it stays with you too. So let's say you broke up and you're away from a while.
Yep.
In your next relationship, you more likely may bring that. Oh, I remember how it was. Oh, wait, he doesn't do that right. Right. Or she doesn't do that right. Ooh. And so those ghosts kind of come that linger. Yeah. So, and then how the relationship was. So you're going to keep the good parts.
Got it.
You're going to remember the good parts of the relationship when you move on to the next one.
Right.
And so if that one let's say it doesn't work out, or you've been alone for a while.
Right.
Let me just go back to that because I remember that part. It wasn't you're going to only remember the good. Yeah. When you go back in it.
Yep.
And then when the bad stuff starts occurring again, you're like, oh, yeah, now I remember why I got out of this.
Yeah. Yes.
why I got out of this.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost that makes you forget. The sex makes you forget.
We never want to, and also we never want to just realize that we failed. There's nothing wrong with failure in a relationship. The relationship just didn't work. We never want to say it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's always great to say, are you in a relationship? Yeah. Oh, we got back, we got
back together. Yeah. It's true. You're identifying through that relationship.
I mean, people are starting to feel somewhat good about their singleness. I think, especially now in the kind of the women's empowerment movement.
Yep.
A lot of things are geared towards women travel, single women travel, So a lot of geared toward that.
Yep.
Whereby, women, when they were single, that you were almost like a pariah left out to dry and to rot. But now those things are now starting to kind of shift a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to linger in a relationship that's bad just to live.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do now just to live.
Yes, exactly. It was to be an acceptance thing. People didn't accept you.
Right.
There's something wrong with you if you weren't in a relationship. Yeah, that definitely has evolved. Has evolved. So talking about non-committal, right? And we talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but not too much. But how do I deal with somebody that's not committing? And what is the damage of enabling that behavior in the person that won't commit? Because I know people that have been in relationships for decades and they're not in a committed relationship. The person will not commit, and they just don't bring it up in conversation. They go, it's fine, I'm not touching it, it's fine. But that person, it's usually the men that can, they can go date anybody they want because they never said it, but they're acting like they're in a committed relationship with you when they're with you. I don't get they don't have any strings. Huh?
I don't get what's so hard, because they never want to put themselves in adverse situation whereby they are single.
Yeah.
So now, because that's a defining thing. Oh, I'm in this relationship. How long have you been in it? Oh, well, we've been together for, even though it's, for umpteen years, but knowing deep down, that's not what they really want.
Yeah. And if you ask the other person, they'll say, oh, that's just my friend. They're not even in a relationship with you.
Right.
You follow
so that
me?
goes, and then, in turn, that goes to the self-esteem thing. They would much rather be with them than not.
Yeah.
To say that they have somebody.
But what about the person that won't commit? It's just that we're not putting them in a position to give them an ultimatum.
They don't have to commit. Why do they have to commit?
That's true. They get everything they want without.
So they're usually those individuals have already told you what they wanted.
Right.
Even though they didn't use the words.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you want to, let's say you want to challenge that. Mm-hmm. So if your value is that you want to be in a committed relationship, then you have to honor your values.
Right.
And get out. If they don't want to commit, fine. Mm-hmm. Then you need to honor your, values. And if they wake up and they want to do that, you still do have to want to consider if that person you want to be with.
Yeah.
Because they may go ahead and be in the relationship. Then once they have, you've done the wedding thing, and you're now, and it's legal.
Yeah.
Then will they commit? Mm-hmm. Will they still commit?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So let's say that person is ill, or the person that, ill, and they need now the other person to step up or do something, and they don't. Yeah. Because they weren't really committed in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that it really comes to a value of how you value that should be a value.
That should be a value.
In a committed relationship.
Yep,
and if they're not, it's just like, look, cut it off.
Cut your losses.
There's no harm done. This goes because you're in essence you are blocking the person that you should have in the relationship.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good. Sounds good to me. So I know that you've got a marriage retreat coming up because we're kind of winding things up, and many people that may be still listening are married, and they're listening for their children because their children are just single and they're driving them crazy. Or these maybe some single people listening that know some married folks. I want you to tell us a little bit about the marriage retreat that's coming up, how they can register. This is only for married people or couples, folks. Mm-hmm. But I do still want to let them know about it because they may know there are people that could take advantage of it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, it's if you go to eventbrite.com and look, just couples conversation retreat, it'll come up. And today, for today only, if you are interested, you can. What I'll do, because the price is, I think it's $700 for per couple. Mm-hmm. But for today only, if couples are interested, if they email me and put shifting to atmosphere with Frederica, and that they listened, I'll put the rate back to the early bird rate, which was $630. Okay. $630. But it's just going to be for today only.
Okay.
That you have to get in contact with me. I won't, and I'll know from the timestamp. So don't try to send it don't try to send it tomorrow. Right. And say, I sent it. And so I may not, because it is Mother's Day weekend, so I won't necessarily get to it today, but I will honor that. If it was sent today. Gotcha. If it was sent today. Sounds good. I'll put that on our social media too. Couples conversation retreat on eventbrite.com. Or they can just go through the couples conversation page and view it there. But the best place is the eventbrite.com. Okay. Sounds good. And do you have any other events coming up? Anything else coming down the pike? There's no events coming up as of yet. I mean, I will be probably doing a book signing. I haven't set that time yet of when that will be. and just the book, which is In the Paint, How to Win at the Game of Love.
Yeah.
You can find it on Amazon if you put all the words in the Paint, How to Win a Game of Love, or blurb, blurb.com, or if you, as of today only as well, I'll do an autographed copy, but you have to send me an email, so I can get it to you and for a cost of $15, which includes shipping and handling as well.
All righty. So, Keith, this has been a marathon.
Yeah.
This has been a marathon. Some of us may have joined us in the beginning, maybe didn't make it to the end, or some came in the middle, but it has been phenomenal having you on. I think we talked about some really hot topics here, and hopefully help some couples out there and even some singles.
Yeah, I hope so. I think so. It was great.
Yeah, it was great having you on. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you. Anytime.
All righty. And so,
I guess nobody sent any questions out there, huh?
Nope, we didn't get any questions today, but It is Saturday morning.
I get it.
It's Saturday morning. You never know. We may get some in Facebook.
Yeah, if people listen later and they have questions, like I said, you can get a hold of me at STRIVE2succeed@Comcast.net.
Yes.
Or info@strive2succeedcoaching.com. And I'll definitely follow up with you.
Sounds good. And the website is Strive to Succeed?
Yes, strive2succeedcoaching.com.
Perfect.
Sign up for the newsletter, or check out my blogs. It's there. A lot of different stuff going on.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Okay. Thanks for being with us, Keith. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day now.
Okay. Hey, this is Federica. Thanks so much for listening to my podcast today. I upload new shows here every week. And if you subscribe to my channel, you'll get notified when new shows have been uploaded. You can check out all my past episodes from season 2 right here on this podcast station. Now, to find out more information about me, visit my website at www.fredericapeterson.com. Here you'll have access to my latest blogs, information about upcoming guests and events, and so much more. I also encourage you to become a part of my Shifting the Atmosphere community by subscribing to news and events. Here you'll get updates directly from me when I've got something new coming down the pike. Now, I'd love to hear from you, so drop me a note and let me know how I'm doing. Better yet, let me know some other topics of interest that you want to hear about right here on the show. You can catch me on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So until next time, keep shifting your atmosphere. Be well and be blessed.